presses with all his might until he chooses you. Absolutely curse. Because of this issue, the tree falls and explodes, and a black ray comes out of it. To the sky. More important for Feng, he literally flies from his place and falls into a hole and remains. He stares stiffly, but after a few moments, he feels like a madman because he keeps finding time to die. Investigator. After that, he gets up and walks around in good health, and finds strange rewards available. He uses the Eye of Truth and knows that the first prize is called a heart. The swimming pool. This prize can simply be combined with any pool to develop it and also change it in its characteristics. But the problem is that after merging it, it cannot be removed unless it is destroyed. He says, "It's fine, I'll do it in my pool so he can be happy." He looks at the second reward, which is called the Sign of Decomposition. This can provide resistance to decay, mold, and negative energy. Best Griff Feng, this effect is not considered significant, even though it is the element. Catheter. And here, in the middle of what is happening, he suddenly pronounces flesh-colored words. It is written that you made the son of the rotten feel weak, and now he wants to kiss you. By himself. Of course, Feng is very worried, as things are not over yet and he is currently in grave danger. So quickly, he does not waste his time and starts running, but he finds a light in front of him as if it was time. He stops. He also puts a mark on his body from this very son of mold so that he knows his location, no matter what. Has gone. He sees that Feng is still in the sky, so he uses his eye on him, but then his eye bleeds. And his pain is very severe. He keeps resisting, holding one eye, looking at the other, and saying, "I must know everything." The information is 2 times. Indeed, the information appears in front of him, but it remains written on it that it is all of it. Bull. And he coughs up blood. He understands that this being is a higher level than the level of reality. When he comes back, he looks at him again. It seems that the being that was originally present in the sky disappeared. At the same time, this is in the city, and because of the black beam that continues without any stop, the government declares a state of emergency. She feels herself getting ready, gathering her team, and heading off to see what is happening or to take a piece of the spoils that are available. Then we will also see that there are blocks that are released and released as well. At this moment, Feng was walking away at all, leaving to go back to his swimming pool. Whenever he walks, he notices that the dagger has become dull to the point of the soul and is developing. It has new features such as absorbing life energy. It also gives him the rage feature, and this feature will make the damage of the dagger increase by 1000. If his opponent is legendary level, Feng is so happy with the development of the dagger that he pups him. He says that no matter how strong the opponent is, I will be able to kill him with just one hit. Then he swings this dagger in the air. He says, "I just need a little time and I will be able to kill people who are on the same level as the rulers." Also, in the end, Feng continues on his way, and he passes through the pool of secrets that he saw at the beginning. Hez trying to benefit from it. He takes his finger away, cuts himself, takes out a piece of paper, and writes on it with his blood, "I saw the son of Rot and I will kill him." He puts the paper in the pool. As soon as he does this, a golden light emanates. He takes out a sealed black envelope from the other side. Then he takes the envelope, put it along. He runs immediately and returns to the slaughterhouse again. As soon as he comes back, he takes out a bottle of blood and drinks it. Then this black envelope comes out. As soon as he opens it, a golden light appears. He writes, "I loved your words, so I will tell you 2 secrets. The first secret is that the rain that comes after midnight is not rain, but tears." Champion. Feng is surprised because these tears are considered the greatest power that exists currently. Then he looks at the second secret. The second secret says that the artists cannot wait. They want to do a rehearsal. The last, especially he wants to see you. Feng is surprised and says that this is obviously a new mystery. He uses the Eye of Truth skill so that he can understand more. But unfortunately, when he uses it, nothing appears and the envelope disappears immediately. Feng turns the desk with his hand, rigid, shrieks, and says, "The pool is dead." After that, he moves and decides that the most important thing right now is to increase his strength. Then 2 neighbors go to the farm owner and laugh at him and tell him, "I was afraid to go to the pig farm. After what you told me, now I want 1,000 chicks from you." The farm owner, of course, is happy and does not believe it. And Feng tells me that it is very good that you did not go to the pigs. Feng closes his box, goes down to his pool, and takes out the heart he had earned. Now will be the time, because if this change is good, then he will gain a lot. But if the change was not good, then Feng would lose a lot. He tries to tempt the pool like this and keeps shaking the heart in front of him, but nothing happens. So he ignores Feng and puts the heart in the pool and that's it and says whatever happens happens. At that time, a terrifying eye emerges from the heart, and the ends of what look like blood vessels also emerge. Thus, it wraps around the heart and covers it, and we find that the pool is the one that wins over. The heart starts to eat him up. Then a green light appears on the throne, and a green part grows, resembling a plant like this. The end is also a green shade, but it looks like crystal. Feng understands everything and knows that the fusion of the heart and this new heart is complete. dripping blood. Unfortunately, he doesn't have any reward left to put in the pool to try. But suddenly an idea comes to him, which is to use a blood bottle. I'm not sure if the topic will work or not. When he extends his hand to the buzzer, the pool sticks out its limbs. He holds this bottle and places it in the crystal heart. Then the bottle comes out again. But this time, the color of the blood is crystalline and very beautiful. Feng is surprised and uses the Eye of Truth. He knows that this is fresh blood that increases strength and health and corrects any defect in the body. It also expels diseases and negative energy. When he sees this information, he immediately remembers Panchao, the cancer patient, who was afraid at first to use normal blood on her because her body might not be able to handle it. But now, the recovery rate should be very high with the procedure. He tells himself that this is a good investment because Shaw's daughter will lose weight. Shaw will always make himself loyal to me and will carry out any request I want. After that, he opens the mobile phone and looks in the dust for a while. He thinks that all people will talk about the death of the tree and the pigs. But he is surprised by another completely terrifying dust. These dust were saying that new monsters had appeared, but without the puppet moon. And diseases. Also, the dust was saying that there was joy that would kill all the guests. In other places, monster fish emerged from the sea, volcanoes erupted, and disasters occurred. Too many. Feng is shocked and concludes that the blood moon at first was an announcement of change. The world and the laws. Now that the transformational jokes have become more frequent, Feng must be stronger. As quickly as possible, he starts cutting chickens and gains 262 spirit and development points. This time, you will need 10,000 points. He continues and puts the egg in the blood and finds that the progress reaches 88.5%. Some of them leave their dagger on a stake and start to lower their hand, and then they find me here. Shaw burns him and gives him the address of the hospital where his daughter is. Exactly after the next hour, Feng arrived at this hospital and was surprised. Shaw is kneeling in front of him with healthcare workers, and he is begging the doctor, but he is getting worse. His daughter is now, and he can get him any medication, no matter how expensive it is. The doctor apologizes to Shaw and tells him that unfortunately the cancer cells have spread very rapidly. With your daughter and no one will be able to save her. Finji enters here, approaches Shaw, and enters this child's room. At that time, he saw her appearance and she was very thin and looked tired. But despite this, the girl smiles, and Finji gets very upset and sheds tears. Shaw gets close to her and holds her little hand to reassure her and keeps crying. This girl also sits crying, but gets up and wipes away her father's tears. She tells us how I look like this time. I will go somewhere far away. But I am reassured that I read that good children remain stars in the sky. The other, because I am good and smart and strong, I will be the pinnacle of a star in the sky. She continues her words to the father and mother. And you tell them, if I miss you, just look up at the sky at night on the tip of a star, and you will know that this remains me. The doctor here cannot bear the sad scene at all. So much so that he leaves the room. As for Feng, he takes Shaw to his side and tells him that I want you to inform me about your daughter's condition. Exactly. Shaw responds to him and tells him that the doctor told me that my daughter will probably not be able to bear it. She will die within half a month. Feng says don't worry, I have a solution. Then hope will return again to Shaw and Pipel. Even in his eyes, he can't bear it and falls on his knee. Feng gets disgusted with him and tells him to himself whatever he wants to do. He started laughing and shaking his head in disapproval of this topic. But he finds that this is the only hope to save his daughter, so he is forced to agree. After that, he goes to his wife and tells her about Feng's plan. The wife is shocked and continues to cry because this is really the only necessary solution they have. Except, in short, they agree that their daughter is not subject to treatment. Guaranteed. You try to reassure the girl, so she holds her hand and tells her not to worry. Uncle Feng has a medicine that he will treat you with, but you may feel a slight pain like this. The girl tells her it doesn't matter. I'm not afraid of pain, because the most important thing is for me to be with you and Daddy only. And you also let her know that this medicine has failed. No one wants Uncle Feng at all. Shaw can't take it anymore. He cries and rolls his face so that his daughter doesn't worry about anything. As for Feng, he takes the bottle out of his pocket. With her hands for the lady here opens the lid. At that time, it creates a pleasant energy that makes the woman and Shaw feel that her fatigue is disappearing. Totally. Shaw is happy and often says this is the treatment, and he is even excited. The wife here continues to drink the bottle. But suddenly we find that the alarm system is activated because a stop is recorded. Myocardium. The doctor quickly runs into the room and tries to open the door, but he is surprised. Locked. But after a few seconds, all the green energy enters the girl's body. Things are completely calming down, and the girl's vital signs and features are getting worse. The fatigue on her face disappears. He says to her, how do you feel constrained by time? The girl responds to him and tells her, I'm a little upset. Shaw and the wife are worried because this could be dangerous, but the girl laughs and tells her, I am hungry. But nothing more. At this moment, Shaw and his wife are crying and hugging the girl, and whoever is crying will also be crying. Very happy. Suddenly the doctor started opening the door and started shouting, telling them, "How did you close the door like that?" The girl is in serious condition. But when he looks, he is surprised that the girl is sitting perfectly well in front of him. He notices that the vital signs are also good, so he stands very shocked. Attitude. Feng talks to him, reassures him, and tells him that if the girl loses weight, he will use medicine from the pool. I don't want anyone to know anything about what happened today. The doctor feels that Finji's words are a threat, but in general, he is happy because he did not expect that massacres could produce things that help the sick. It's normal like this. He says this noise is a miracle. But at the same time, it remains surprising that Venji dares to use a new method on such a baby girl. The doctor is afraid and keeps saying that I have something else to do. He reassures Feng that it is impossible to talk about what happened today. He goes out and runs outside the room. When the doctor comes out, his wife gets down on their knee to look at Feng's hand and leg. But of course, Feng stops them and tells them to be careful about the girl. He asks Joey to go downstairs so they can talk to each other for a while. After that, he walks, but before leaving, he stops for a moment. He tells the girl, "I'm not old, by the way, so she can tell me, uncle." This girl smiles and says okay. She stays with her family for a while. Okay, after that, Finji comes out of the hospital and stops, and gentle passion transgresses against it. He will be happy with everything he is doing now. But he is surprised that this black ray is still there. He is surprised and says that it has not continued until now. He turns on the news to understand. He is surprised when he finds that the same thing happened in the city here. It happened all over the world too. And literally now these black rays are everywhere. Monsters are spread throughout the world. He was proud of the tree and the explosion that happened. He wonders if he is the only one in the world who can defeat a mutant pool or what. He imagines what the world would look like again, and he is familiar with changing pranks. He says that it is not good for people to be strong and strong. To save this world. Sareng was not thinking about getting out of the hospital. He looks tired and is still repeating himself. But what is different this time is that his help remains a spark of life. Shaw extends his hand and Feng smiles at him, and also extends his hand and greets him. After that, he goes home with him and finds 17 pieces on the table. He uses the Eye of Truth to make sure that all of these items are actually rewards from the massacres, and they are not ordinary items. After that, he stands, moves his hand, opens the removal box, and finds that he is being withdrawn, and store all items. Shaw is shocked by the scene, and in fact, Feng intended to surprise Shaw in the first place but he reassures him that he is strong. He even opens the box again, extends his hand, and also brings a swing blade and throws away. For Shaw. There with caution. It will happen. I wonder if they were talking like that, Shaw's wife would come. She asks Finja to sit and eat with them for a while. But Feng refuses and tells her that I am in a hurry, but he leaves the place. Feng starts walking in the street alone, and then he smells a very beautiful scent of junk. He remembers that these delicious things were always made for the autumn festival. Here he buys a cake, eats it, and is happy and enjoying himself. But one time, Feng collects something and says that this fall festival is being held there. Always a fair presentation. Certainly, the final rehearsal that was written for me in the puzzle will happen today. He moves to find the stage, and while he is walking, he hears the sound of sad singing, and scary at the same time. He pulls out his dagger and stands ready for the attack that could happen immediately. This singing is still going on, and it makes Vinji feel a very new loneliness. And he is crying because he thinks of his mother and father who died. It runs towards the place where the sound came from and continues to pass through plants and grass. It takes a long time until he finally reaches a huge and completely deserted theater. When he arrives, he feels that there are many ghosts here and hears 3 different voices on stage. One of them had an angry voice, another voice that was sad, and a third voice that was going crazy. He uses the Eye of Truth and then the image is revealed in front of him and he sees 3 massacres. They are located next to each other. The first rosary is numbered 1001, and it consists of shortened udders. At that time, the spirit of a very strong leader emerges from this pool. He tells us that if I defended the country and killed the enemies, why should the emperor doubt me? And the ending will be so tragic. Fingo turns and looks at the second pool, which is full of accessories and crowns. Women's number was 1003. From this pool emerges the spirit of a worker's owner who is in a state of dismay and tells us who she helped reach power. But in the end, she cheated on him and died alone in the palace. Fingo continues and looks at the third pool, number 1004, and there is a clear sign on it, in different expressions. This old man comes out of the pool crying, but at the same time he is itching and irritating everyone. People. He calls people crazy and doesn't know anything about the truth. He thinks for a while about what is happening. He says that we have one person who betrayed him and another person who betrayed him. And thirdly, I see that the whole world is a black farce. Here, Feng understands that the common factor between the three is extreme sadness. He continues to think more and says, this play has not yet been played. The matter is often not related to whether people like the play or not. He remembers what happened. This is Abu Zaman's favorite play. There was a character who represented fate and controlled all the laws. Here, Feng feels that Abu is beside him and puts his hand on his shoulder. And he says black should prefer black. And white must also be white. The balance of judgment is the heart. From these words, Feng easily remembers his father when he died in an accident, although he was a great achiever. When he died, no one saw him, nor was a long, respectable funeral given to him. He also remembers his mother, who saved the lives of many people. In the end, she died from drowning in her own blood, and no doctor tried to save her. Here, Venja feels angry, sad, and mad. These are the same feelings as those currently controlling the pool. Finja was able to explode and said that it should never be like this. Happy. All the while, he runs and comes out onto the dilapidated stage, and his steps make a sound resembling the sounds of drums. Warriors like that. Then he stands up and says, let's act right. He calms down a little, adjusts his clothes well, and prepares for his role. In this role, he will be the leader who will turn the table. And his father's theatrical spirit is blossoming. He then placed him in front of the military commander. He says angrily, General, the king is weak, and he is the reason. He heard the words of the traitors and killed your brother, and you were not even seeking revenge. That's why you don't deserve to remain a military commander. Finjo continues and hits the stage for you both. He tells you that this means that everyone must get what he deserves. We said no one would bring it at all. All in all, we find that the swimming pool is starting to collapse. After that, Finjo looks into the owner's pool. He tells her that you are the owner, so you should look at the paragraph and take care of the affairs of the whole country. But now you're wasting it just for the sake of a loser. For this reason, you never talk about being an owner. Also, in this sentence, we find that the owner disappears, and thus Feng ends up in the second pool. But suddenly, the third pool is shaking and the old man comes out and keeps laughing and roofing. Living. He says your acting is amazing, but you are fake and your sadness does not exist. Basically, and you're just a lunatic who comes out and talks about us, nothing more. The Masba, which was calm at the time, becomes very annoyed by words and their energy flares up. They were waiting for him to come back and say what? Finja smiles at the old man. He responds to him and says, I am really fake. When he says that, the three souls are literally shocked. Then he consults himself and says to the souls, this is all just a script. Paper, nothing more because you are actors. But the tragedy and sadness inside me are still alive. Holt Feng is on fire, and he angrily says that my pain is real and millions stronger. Once, it's just an imaginary play you're acting out. Then he cuts his hand with a dagger and draws blood on his face, and golden energy explodes. We see that Feng has drawn a strange face containing sadness, anger, and a fake smile. He keeps having a crazy laugh, and then the first swimmers get shocked and lose their lives. It disappears completely. As for the third pool, it is still standing, but on the other hand, its crack disappears and it is gone. What a horror! Feng then screams loudly and his golden energy explodes. He says to them, I am Feng, how can anyone dare to call me a fake? He says that all the people at any festival, such as the Autumn Festival, gather and celebrate together. Some. But he was always alone without any family. Finally, he visits the graves of his father and mother. Their accident was definitely a crime. And now he is still suffering because he is unable to care for them. How could all this be fake? Feng's energy is released again and suddenly we find the leader's pool exploding and the queen's pool exploding. It becomes short, almost like a buzz. As for the old man, he is moving and his crazy look is disappearing. This is the first time he says that he is a normal, rational human being. In the end, it also disappears, and the three massacres spread golden energy. When this happens, the sky cracks and a red ray comes out, descending and striking. Massacres. Feng is surprised that the rays coming out are entering his head directly. He also finds information that worries him even more. Then he sees what happened and the souls of the three massacres. I find the general planting a rose on his older sisters. He moves to the queen and finds that she remains the ruler of the throne. The last thing Feng sees is the old man wearing a mask and sitting next to a child who looked concerned. Very me. Everything that happens is mental exhaustion, of course. That's why Feng falls on his foot. He starts coughing up blood, so he extends his hand inside the removal box so that Izaz can get it. Blood, drinks it and recovers. Indeed, when he recovers, he moves again towards the massacres and uses the Eye of Truth. He looks at their first swimming pool. This pool rewards the tyrant's helmet, and the helmet is supposed to provide strength. It will reduce the damage. Also, if Feng is surrounded by one or more enemies, the strength and effect of the helmet increases. It doubles. Feng gets very excited and hugs this helmet and says, this item is very nice for me. He goes to the second pool and the reward he has is a jade necklace. The effect of this pendant remains magical because it allows any attack coming at Feng to be deflected and hit enemies, especially if it was a deadly attack. Feng is also happy and says that it is clear that I am starting to get used to the legendary rewards. Finally, he heads to the last pool to take the last treasure from there. What remains is a legendary tooth that reduces damage from poisons and curses. Even this age can respond to the offspring because it released the poison in the first place. He says Finji is very good. The current world is scary and no one knows if he might be poisoned or poisoned. Curse my mother. Finji remains happy and says this time, I killed 3 birds with 1 stone. I still have 3 new legendary treasures. But one thing remains surprising, which is that this time the light came down from the sky and struck massacres. The natural assumption is that the light comes out of the altars themselves. He slowly moves forward to see exactly where the light hit. When he concentrates, he finds that there is also a sweater, and the sweater contains a leather painting with a drawing on it. What the hell did Lu Feng use? Anyone who would look into his eyes and his spirit would be diminished, and he feels very afraid. He makes fun of Feng and says that this is my lucky day. It is known that all of these elements are from a caustic group consisting of 7 elements. Basically, Feng can no longer imagine what exactly will happen when he collects the 7 elements. After a while, he finds the fog disappearing from the sky, so he takes himself and smiles and remembers the rest of the secret. The rest of the talk is that there is someone who wants to see it. Feng understands that things are not over yet, and there is nothing left for the play that was made. He extends his hand to his side and takes out a curse card. He says, this is the ticket for the last show at the Shrine of Sorrows. He links his reward at that time to the image of Shay and the woman, so she remains the champion of the statement here. Finji isn't too sure about the idea he's thinking about right now. After that, he looks at the date and says that it is clear that tomorrow is not the normal day of the Caliph. Never, because there are so many sad artists, they all want to do a different show. To the entire world. He walks afterward and sees now that there are 2 important things going on. The first is that someone is looking for it and does not know if this is a good or bad thing. The second thing is the artists who will appear without knowing what they will mean. Exactly, how will their offer also work? Feng gets annoyed by all this and takes out the dagger, the egg, and the bone bug. Then he touches the dagger and feels its terrifying power and says, this weapon is the strongest weapon I have. Currently, he also touches insects and says that insects are considered useful at a certain stage, but not. I know exactly when. The last thing he incubates the egg and says, these are all the basic elements that I have, and I will face any difficulties. While he was thinking about this, he found that Shaw was talking to him and telling him, don't worry, it's us. We did tests, and my daughter recovered completely. He becomes happy and says, I wish you, your daughter, and your wife a happy Eid Khalifa. So Shaw changes the subject and says, okay, I contacted the Black Shadow organization. They met me and also wanted me to be one of the main players there. Feng understands that the organization wants to make Shaw look like this. He says it's very good. Continue your acting role. He eventually closes with him and sits at a table and drinks and eats cake again and continues. Happy. He only hopes that what is coming will be much better than now. Then the clouds cover it and the rain falls. Fenga stands and says that this autumn festival is usually a symbol of family warmth. But this does not apply to me at all. And here he continues to ignite his killing spree. Then he grabs the umbrella and walks in the rain. This time, he is not hiding his aura. He says, okay, I won't hide myself anymore. Now is the time to worry. Unfortunately, here we have reached the end of the video. And we have also reached the last episode of this story. From now on, let me prepare you for the new series that we will introduce. Also, when a new season comes out, we will continue this story. Just look, I complain well.